part-time Mike when it comes up.
Sorry.
On behalf of the Commemoration Committee, you're all very welcome. You're come yet again to participate in these ceremonies to honour Sean Moylan and his deceased comrades. I welcome especially those old warriors who are with us today and who have been returning year after year to pay their special tribute to their late leader. Will you give them a big welcome? To lay the wreath on Sean Moylan's grave today, we have Councillor Nora Wren, formerly Ballydesmond, and our own great warrior, Dan Guinea. along the grass of Tanti in the land, is Ben a hood of Renard, agus is Ben a het horror of Rennie Isa. Shade of that would it along the grass of Tanti in the land, is Ben a hood of Renard, agus is Ben a het horror of Rennie Isa. Shade of that would it along the grass of Tanti in the land, is Ben a hood of Renard, agus is Ben a het horror of Rennie Isa. Shade of that would it along the grass of Tanti in the land, is Ben a hood of Renard, agus is Ben a het horror of Rennie Isa. Shade of that would it along the grass of Tanti in the land, is Ben a hood of Renard, agus is Ben a het horror of Rennie Isa. Shade of that would it along the grass of Tanti in the land, is Ben a hood of Renard, agus is Ben a het horror of Rennie Isa. Shade of that would it along the grass of Tanti in the land, is Ben a hood of Renard, agus is Ben a het horror of Rennie Isa. Shade of that would it along the grass of Tanti in the land, is Ben a hood of Renard, agus is Ben a het horror of Rennie Isa. Shade of that would it along the grass of Tanti in the land, is Ben a hood of Renard, agus is Ben a het horror of Rennie Isa. Shade of that would it along the grass of Tanti in the land, is Ben a hood of Renard, agus is Ben a het horror of Rennie Isa. Ford in Ahad, agus in Vach, agus in Spridneum. Nennim in Ahad, agus in Vich, agus in Spridneum. Bin up day, Annam, Sean Moylan, agus Annam, Lachan the Morris Berea. To deliver the oration today, it is my pleasure to introduce you former Minister for Justice, and indeed a man who has served with distinction as Minister in many other departments as well, Jerry Collins, TD. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I feel indeed very privileged, and may I say very, very humble to be able to join with you, the people of Kish came, whence he came to commemorate the 27th anniversary of the death of Sean Moylan. I can make no prouder claim than to say that my late father was a comrade in arms with Sean Moylan. Sean Moylan and his colleagues belonged to a truly great generation of Irish men and women for whom no sacrifice, even that of life itself, was too great to make in the struggle to end British rule in Ireland and to set her free. There was a great friend of his who a number of years or so ago was asked to give a pen picture of Sean Moylan, and he did it as follows. He said he was a boy born on a farm, became a carpenter by trade, then a building contractor, who won fame as one of the best known volunteer leaders in the South during the War of Independence, and was then a minister in the Irish government. A man, he said, whose leisure hours were devoted to books, pictures and the theatre. That, he said, is the life story in miniature of Sean Moylan. Sean Moylan was the eldest son of 5 in family, born to Richard Moylan and Nora Raleigh. And indeed, it's nice to know that if he were alive this weekend, he would be celebrating his 95th birthday tomorrow, the 19th of November. He was born on the 19th of November in 1889. And his 2 grandfathers, veteran Fenians, both lived there. Edmund O'Reilly and John Moylan. And he lived with with Edmund O'Reilly as a child, and at his knees he imbibed that Fenianism which made him a disciple of freedom. He was educated at Kilmallock National School until the age of 16 years, and it is very interesting to note that only 3 miles down the road from where he was at school, Eamon de Valera was at the National School in Brewery, and another short distance up the road in the other direction, another great Irishman, Liam Lynch, was at school in Anglesborough. At the age of 16, Sean Moylan was apprenticed to a local carpenter, a man by the name of Thomas Welsh, and during that time he became totally involved and immersed in the activities of the Gaelic League and the Gaelic Athletic Association. Indeed, he excelled at football, and I believe as well that he was a reasonable hurler, but he was better at the football. After he had served his apprenticeship to got employment with a builder in Donnybrook in Dublin. A Kerry man, a man from Broston, the County Kerry, by the name of Bat O'Connor, who had been a member of the IRB, a man who later on became involved in 1916 and was later elected as Sinn Féin TD. And it was to him that Sean Moylan went to for his first job in Dublin, in Donnybrook. And shortly after that, there was a visit of a member of the royal family to Dublin. In the year 1911, we had a visit of George V to Dublin, and at that time, naturally, there were protests, and young Sean Moylan attended one of these protest meetings at College Green, which was addressed by Sheehy Skeffington and others. And of course, the police had to intervene, and naturally, there was a melee, and Sean Moylan was badly injured on that occasion. Shortly after that, he returned to Kilmallock and joined the local volunteers there. That was in the year 1914, but he didn't stay long there because he came to Newmarket and set up as a building contractor. But I'm afraid he had a greater love than building contracting at a particular time, and that was his love for Ireland and his love for freedom. And he spent all his energies in establishing a volunteer company in the area. Indeed, shortly after that, he and other colleagues, Liam Lynch and others, brought up a major psychological coup in that under the garrison walls of the town of Fermoy, they arrested General Lucas together with two colonels who were with him, a Colonel Terrell and a Colonel Danford. And indeed, this was, as I say, a major psychological coup at a particular time, because it showed that though small in numbers, they were extremely determined and prepared to do everything they felt that had to be done or should be done to achieve their goals. At that time, as you know, Sean Moylan and those with him brought General Lucas across the county of Cork in an old Ford car, and the General was heard to remark, and I quote from his exact words when he said, "I was under the impression we were in military occupation of this country." But he was put right on that comment by Sean Moylan. I want to say as well that it's very interesting to note the human side in that Sean Moylan became friends with that General Lucas, and General Lucas many years afterwards extended a welcome to Sean Moylan to come and visit him in the United Kingdom. Might I say, at that time, General Lucas was given over here by the people in County Cork to your neighbours in County Limerick, and we looked after him for a little while, and we eventually passed him across the River Shannon to the boys in County Clare, where he was in very safe keeping for as long as they wanted. As well as that, immediately afterwards, Sean Moylan and his colleagues here in North Cork decided to organise a major offensive every 2 weeks to harass the enemy. And as you know, one of the first and major offences planned and executed so carefully and so successfully was the attack on Mallow Barracks in September of 1920. And this, my friends, was a major achievement in that it was the first attack on such a barracks in rural Ireland. The first, I think the second in the whole country, the first being in Dublin. And he led 50 riflemen, and together with help that they got from the local volunteers, staged a successful attack on Mallow Barracks, where they were able to capture over 50 other rifles and a number of machine guns, which were badly needed to arm the volunteers who were flocking to him and to his colleagues to help them along the way. And of course, here where we are today, I need not tell you, good people, anything about Clonbannon and the extremely successful ambush that was there on that day. And might I say, it was nice to know that on that day, the people here in this area, the people of North Cork, were assisted by our friends and neighbours from North Kerry under the very able guidance of Tommy McAllister. Clonbannon, of course, will be spoken of for many years. And those of us who were of a much younger generation are very familiar with the details of that particular engagement on that day. We know how it lasted for 6 hours or thereabouts, and will well on until the late afternoon. Indeed, shortly after that, the boys from North Cork came over the border into County Limerick, and there, together with people that were very much involved, my father and his colleagues and their friends in County Limerick, they planned a major ambush to take place at the Barna Gap. You know that high road between Newcastle West and Abbeyfield. And there they laid in wait, about 90 volunteers laid in wait for 5 days for the convoy that was expected to come from Tralee to Limerick, but I'm afraid something went wrong. That convey went by the coast road on by the River Shannon on that day. But I often remember as a youngster hearing those two men, my late father, God be good to them all, and Sean Moylan, joking in Leinster House when my father would tease him by saying, Moylan, if Barna came off, it would be bigger and better than Clonbannon or anything you had in the County Cork. That was the sort of gentle rivalry that was common between those great men at that particular time. The nation staggered everyone who had heard him. If there is a war of extermination waged on us, he said, that war will also exterminate British interests in Ireland. Because if the British want a war of extermination on us, I may not see it finished, but by God, he said, no loyalist in North Cork will see it finished. And it's about time somebody told that to Lloyd George. His voice throbbed with the vibration caused by the tremendous earnestness with which he uttered the words. And it was in thoughtful and grave humour that the deputies at that debate at that particular day rose for their midday interval. Sean Moylan was first elected, as I said, in 1921 and didn't seek election again until 1932. And in the meantime, he had joined Fianna Fáil in 1926. And it was a great tribute to him that then, on his first day in Leinster House, that he was asked by the founder and leader of our party, Eamon de Valera, to propose him for the office of bishopship. And Sean Moylan had unbroken membership as All-Ireland until March of 1957, when on his nomination, then by Eamon de Valera, to the Shannon, he became Minister for Agriculture. And in that ministry, where he was to serve for all too brief a period, he showed, as he had previously done, as Minister for Land, as Minister for Education, his outstanding abilities as an administrator with a deep insight into the problems of the people, both urban and rural, and his passionate dedication to improve their standards of living and quality of life. But of all, my dear friends, there are people here who know him personally. Sean Moylan was a man of great compassion and great humanity, with a sense of humour and a turn of wit which could bring relief to the most tense of situations. A friend of his recently recalled for me the occasion when attending a lunch as Minister for Education to mark the official opening of a new school, that the local bishop's words of praise for him were so lavish that Sean Moylan couldn't hold his words to himself any longer, and he interjected by saying, "Great God," he says, "who would ever think that a bishop excommunicated me?" That was the man that people here knew better than any of us of the younger generation. And indeed, I think my first memory of seeing that very great man was in his role as Minister for Education, when he visited my hometown of Abbeyfield to formally or officially open a vocational school in that town. He was ever ready to give his help where it was needed, and Sean Moylan, the minister, was not beyond taking a ladder in hand to replace a slate on the roof of a neighbour's house. And this did happen in Dublin after a severe storm. A neighbour of his who lived right beside him, a widow woman on her own, was complaining that she couldn't get anybody to replace the slate or the tile on her house. And Sean Moylan, without saying a word to anybody, as a member of the Irish government, went and got a ladder and came and went on the roof of that poor lady's house to fix her tile and to take away the greatest worry and concern that she had on that particular day. He was a keen student of politics throughout his life. He was very widely read, and utilising to the full the extraordinary intellectual capacity which was his, he amassed a most comprehensive store of knowledge, not only of the history of his own country, but that of other countries as well. No man is more worthy of our gratitude, and no man's memory is more deserving of our honour than the great County Cork man at whose gravesite we gather in tribute today. Indeed, at that time, he and his colleagues were described by Eamon de Valera speaking in the Dáil in the debates of April the 20th, 1945, when he said, "Most members here came into public life from a patriotic point of view, with a view to serving the people, and in many cases, the only reward at the time that they came into public life, the only reward that they could look forward to if their cause did not triumph, would be a noble death." heroic lead in the fight for Irish freedom. And because of their love for Ireland, because of their extraordinary dedication to secure Ireland's freedom and the economic and social advancement of all our people, Sean Moylan and his gallant comrades will never be forgotten. The name of Sean Moylan in particular will be recalled whenever and wherever men and women gather to recount the daring deeds and the heroic exploits of the bravest of men. Damon Devanera, whose friend and confidant Sean Moylan was over many years in good time and bad, paid this moving tribute to him on the sad occasion of his death 27 years ago. Vishe, Adolche, Grina Year's son, is more ill, Wakus, at Sopne Sirsha, at Targain, August and Dollarig, at Tardenta, Satir Shaw, Le Dahad Blian and News. They talked at Anam, August a Genevera, and added they stand the Herden or Irish, Far Kroga, or Dintanuk, the Baye. You see it, the hard Cosbori, a Kirsha River, August is Kuha, a Yirishe, a Anam Reeve. Enya Gorkara, the Jan o Moylan, ni Vishtado, the Muralak, at Kajuka, la Avash. Imask, Lekra Gael, Greva, Anim, Usel, Dirish, Goremida Mahavit. As it is, on behalf of the Commemoration Committee, and I know on behalf of everybody here, a very, very sincere thank you to Jerry Collins for being with us today. Thank you. I want to thank also everyone who helped in any way for the preparations for today. And now to conclude, the Quillen Band will play our Round of Ian.
Thank you.